Hey everyone, today I want to talk about a topic that comes up all of the time while we've been growing our business, which is should I monetize my community? Should I be selling to people that I know? How do I connect with people that I know and sell to them? Is it the right thing to do? Can it be blurry? And all of these things can definitely be true, but I kind of want to address them because as you know, we've grown our business to a seven-figure agency. We love our clients. And many of these clients kind of started off in like a relational sense. I met a lot of our initial clients at masterminds, in groups that we were a part of, and that actually made for a really successful start. And I realized that a lot of, business and networking is about relationship. Like it's really about being in community with other people and growing your businesses side by side. And so today I want to talk about kind of the pros and cons of, should you mix business and friendship? What does that look like? Whether that be through, affiliate marketing where you're affiliating for maybe a friend, or whether it be actually selling services or buying services from friends, because this can definitely be a super tricky topic and definitely something that I know I've thought a lot about over the years. So I'm going to start with the pros of why it might be worth it for you to be doing business with your friends. And I know there's always so many lines around it, but I'm going to tell you a lot of the most successful entrepreneurs I see, they're doing so much business with friends, they're doing business with family, they're really just building those strong boundaries. A mentor of mine always says contracts keep friends. So as we've built our business, that's something that I've really stood close to, is that I really want to make sure that if I'm ever doing any kind of business with friends, there's a contract in place, we're having really good conversations, and we are building kind of together. The first thing that I really always think about is the idea of that built-in trust that comes from that. And that's never something you want to take advantage of. It's never something that you want to break. But when you have people in your life who are great at what they do, it's hard not to refer to them. It's hard not to talk about them. I have a few people in my life who are amazing at ads. I have amazing people in my life who are great at websites. I've got people in my life who are awesome, strategists who do really, really cool things. And so it's really easy for me to make a referral because that trust is already there. We already, know that the person's great. We love working with them. And the truth of business is that people want to work with people they like working with. I always say this. I think this is a part of why Maria and I have been able to grow our business so fast. So we always say we're normal and people like us, but it's because we just try to really show up for people and really just be honest and tell people what they need. And even if people don't buy it from us, we're always so happy to give people advice because we know all that stuff comes around. And so that is how we've built trust with so many people over the years, has been really just these conversations and really just being able to talk to them and say like, hey, we see that this is what you're doing on social. You could do more. This is what that could look like, but it doesn't have to with us. And we've made great referrals to people who are maybe less comfortable with hiring friends, but often we work with tons of our friends because there is that built-in trust there. The other piece is easier collaboration, right? So if you're thinking about, who you like working with, we always want to hire people that it feels easy with. Whether that be a friendship, lots of our client relationships develop into some type of friendship, but you want to have relationships with people where, it's easy to collaborate with them. And the type of work that we do, whether that be social media and podcasting, both of those types of work rely on relationship. They rely on it being easy to have conversations. They rely on it to be easy to kind of connect, easy to work together. And if that's the case, then it should be easy for us to kind of really have a relationship and move forward in that way. So easier collaborations are key for business. And so why wouldn't you want to do it with people who you have an underlying friendship with? Lastly is mutual support. And this is the one I think is actually the most important, is that your friends want to see you win. So often I've worked with, some of my best business friends and life friends, and they've given us some really business changing feedback. Whether that be, hey, I'm noticing this process that you have, it's not great. And why don't you do this? Or, hey, I'm loving this. You should offer this more or talk about this more. These things are invaluable, and an everyday customer probably won't give you that feedback. Even though we have tons and tons of happy customers that we work with at this time, we have 85 clients that we love, but we always know that our clients who are closest to us are the ones who are going to give us that feedback. So those relationships are so, so important, but that mutual support of us both wanting each other to win and wanting us to be able to kind of build our empires side by side has really been helpful in helping us grow our business. The next piece to definitely think about is what would happen if things go wrong, right? And that can happen. We've definitely had business relationships go sour. Everyone has. And that's why really making sure those things at the beginning are super important. But where's the risk in monetizing your community and selling to people in your community? The first is that there could be blurred boundaries. And this is something I've definitely felt before where, you don't know if it's like a friendship or you don't know if it's a business relationship. Maybe there's an expectation of discounts. Different things like that can be really challenging in a business relationship. So that's why I really try to make everything really upfront about what my expectations are, what people can do, and then we're able to have really, really honest conversations. But those blurred boundaries can be really, really, really tough. But I also just want to say too, is that not all relationships are friendships. And I have lots of business relationships. We have lots of clients who I wouldn't necessarily consider friends, but we have a really friendly relationship and we're able to keep things super professional and really, really serve each other, but it not be necessarily a friendship where we're hanging out after work. I think it can be really easy for that to happen, but that's not always the case. And so just remembering that can definitely be a difficult part of business, those blurred boundaries. But once you're able to have those conversations, sometimes that can really just solve the full problem. The next is that the community you might have might not match your ideal client. And that's something I actually sometimes see with our clients. Maybe they're networking kind of in the wrong places. Their ideal clients actually aren't in those rooms. And maybe they're not networking for ideal clients, but maybe networking for referrals or networking just to build your network. All those things are valid. It doesn't always have to be like, you join a room to get clients. We're really lucky. A lot of the rooms that we're in, because the people that we sell to are small business owners, they're already there. So there's usually some type of return, but not always. And so really trying to figure out like, where is your ideal client and how do you be close to them? How do you make sure that you're connected with them? Where are they hanging out? What events are they going to? Can you sponsor them? Can you be there? Can you have a vendor booth? Can you show authority? Can you be a speaker? Like those are some great ways to do it that are, expanding your community. The other thing too is just trying to go to events and support people who have your ideal client in front of them as well. So if you even know somebody who's running an event that your ideal client might be at, how do you go to that person and offer support and offer guidance to try to be able to get in front of a new audience? But maybe your community isn't the right community to sell to begin with, and they actually don't want what you're selling. We've seen this happen many times before where people create offers and the offers actually aren't even right for their audience. And if that's the case, then it's going to be really hard to sell something that people don't want. So you want to make sure that your community is aligned with whatever it is that you're offering. The last piece is that often people, when they're selling to their community, they don't realize that the way that they're selling, they might be giving their audience the ick, right? If I've had this before where, you meet someone at an event, they're like, contacting you all the time. They're messaging you. You're not really that interested. That is something I've really vowed not to do. And even I had someone reach out, they gave me their information and they said, email me. I emailed them once. They said, email me again in a month. They told me to do it and I still felt weird about it. So really just making sure that, if you're actually talking to your community, I love to just lead with a ton of value and not lead with a sale. I don't know where any of these relationships are going to go, but even one of our latest podcast clients, they came from me DMing them on Instagram being like, hey, I actually think you need a podcast. I don't care who you do it with, but this is something that you definitely need. And they ended up working with us, which was amazing, such a slam dunk for us, but it doesn't necessarily always happen like that. And so just a reminder that really being able to build those connections doesn't always lead to work right away, but sometimes these things happen over time and relationships build. So being okay and being willing to wait it out is sometimes one of the greatest skills that we can learn in business. So if you're thinking about the best approach to be able to maybe sell to your community or leverage some connections you have, there's a few things to keep in mind. The first is that you don't want to be spamming people or giving people the ick or, really trying to push people into buying. That is a huge no-no. I've had so many friends mention to me over the years they want to launch a podcast. I wait for them. I wait for them to launch. Whenever they're ready, I'm the first person that they're thinking of because I provided value for them and I'm somebody that they trust. So just wait, and often that will come, and not spamming people constantly. Because if you treat people like they are leads, then they aren't friends, they're just customers. And so really just making sure that you keep that relationship intact is so, so important. The other piece is that the more value that you offer, asks become easier. So maybe, you're not actually selling to a community member, but you want to sell to their audience or their referral network. It's actually easier for you to do that when you've added a lot of value to that person, when you've provided a lot of guidance, when you're really excited about what they're up to. It becomes easier for you to be able to say, hey, I'm just wondering, you have this thing going on and I'd love to be a part of it. How do I become a part of it? And people are usually really happy to have you involved. And so if you are interested in, building that connection, building that relationship, don't do it because of that, but naturally that happens. I have a wonderful friend who makes websites. Her name's Allie, and she is amazing. And her and I, we did actually a newsletter swap where we both posted each other's freebies in our newsletters, and then we did a swap. That was mutually beneficial to both of us because she sells websites to my type of people. I sell social to her type of people. And we were able to both kind of generate some excitement there. So try to find different ways that are win-win, where you're not just taking, but you're actually building really valuable connections for your partners and your connections as well. The last thing is setting clear boundaries. And this is one that has been really tough for us. I love to have really good boundaries at the beginning, but over time, sometimes they can wear, sometimes it can affect personal relationships. And so really just trying to set yourself up the best of your ability right from the beginning is so important, because otherwise it can be really, really challenging to backtrack. I know for us, we've definitely had, relationships go awry because of business, and that's not the ideal state. So you really want to make sure that you are building those connections and those relationships, and with the end in mind that, it's a win-win situation. We have some clients who I am obsessed with. I love them so much. And we give each other lots of work. They're so happy to refer us. And a lot of that comes from the fact that we've done a lot of work together and there's a lot of trust. And so making sure that those boundaries in place is so important to be able to see success long-term. So that's kind of a wrap on would you do business with friends and what it looks like to sell to your community. And it can definitely be something that's really challenging, but it's really worked for us in building amazing relationships and having fun in business. Sometimes business can be so hard and have so many drawbacks and so many things to think about. And when that's the case, it can be really, really tough. And having business friends to do business alongside with makes it just a little bit easier. And so I'd love to hear from you. Would you do business with friends? Has that been a way that you've been able to do it? Do you build really strong boundaries? What are some things that you've been struggling with as you've been growing your business? Because I think business is better with friends, but I know that's not everyone's opinion. Let me know what you think.